Hey GPT, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? What's on your mind today?
I'm doing well too. Thanks for asking. Today, I wanna talk with you about what happened today.
I'm glad to hear you're doing well. What happened today? I'd love to hear about it.
I met a guy who I sent 友達申請って英語になんて言うの？
友達申請は英語で friend request になります。なので、I sent a friend request to a guy や I sent him a friend request ということができますよ。
I met a guy who I sent I sent a friend request on Facebook, and we.
It sounds like you're starting to share something about meeting the guy. You can say, I met a guy to whom I sent a friend request on Facebook. Or more casually, I met a guy I sent a friend request to on Facebook. What happened when you met him?
I met a guy whom I sent a friend request on Facebook.
That sounds interesting. How did the meeting go? Did you two hit it off?
Could you repeat the question again?
I see what you mean. I was just curious about how things went with the guy. It sounds like you're asking for clarification on your sentence as well. To be more grammatically accurate, you could say, I met a guy to whom I sent a friend request on Facebook. This keeps the sentence proper. But if you're speaking casually, I met a guy I sent a friend request to on Facebook, works fine too. Would you like to tell me more about what happened when you met him?
I met a guy to whom I sent a friend request on Facebook.
Got it. It sounds like you're focusing on the grammar of the sentence, which is great. How did it go when you met him? Was it a good experience?
Yes, I think it is very good to meet him because he is knowledgeable.
It sounds like you're starting to explain what you like about him. How would you describe him?
Yeah.
What made meeting him feel good?
Yeah, he is knowledgeable about politics more than me and my friends.
That sounds interesting. It must be cool to talk with someone who has a deeper understanding of politics. What kind of topics did you discuss?
A lot of things. For example, what do you want to be in the future, or what do you want to make? What kind of policy do you want to make? Like that.
問題が発生しています。お話の内容を理解できませんでした。
We talked about what kind of policy do you want to make, or what do you want to be in the future.
That sounds like a fascinating conversation. It must have been interesting to hear each other's perspectives on future goals and policies. What did you say about the kind of policy you would want to make?
I don't have a policy to make, but he said that he wanna make three policy. First is economic policy. Second is diplomatic policy. Third is 地方創生って英語でなんていうの？
Defantongsang is translated as regional revitalization or regional development in English. So you could say, he said he wants to make 3 policies. First, an economic policy. Second, a diplomatic policy. And third, a regional revitalization policy. That's an interesting mix of areas to focus on. What do you think about his ideas?
I also I'm also interested in economic policy, so I agree with this side. But the other side, I'm not interested so much. So yeah, I don't think anything.
It's great that you connect with the economic policy part. It's understandable that not everyone would be as interested in the other areas. Sometimes it takes time to dive deeper into different topics to find what resonates with us. Do you have any specific ideas about economic policy that you'd want to see happen?
Could you repeat the question again? I couldn't get it. Hey. Hey, GPT.
Sure. I was asking if you have any specific ideas about economic policy that you'd like to see happen since you're interested in that area. Is there a particular economic issue or idea that you care about?
Yeah, I am interested in 株式市場における株式市場の制度。英語になんて言うの？
You're talking about the system in the stock market. In English, that would be the system in the stock market or stock market regulations. Are you interested in how the stock market operates? Or are there specific rules or reforms you'd like to see in place?
I am interested in the system of stock market, and I should be regulated in this. But
it sounds like you're thinking about how the stock market should be regulated. It's definitely a complex area, balancing fair practices with allowing people to invest freely. Are you concerned about specific aspects of the system, like transparency, insider trading, or market manipulation?
配当の制度、配当について英語でなんて言うの？
配当は英語で dividends と言います。例えば、配当の制度は dividend system になります。株式市場における配当について話す際に使えるフレーズです。Are you interested in how dividends work in the stock market?
Exactly. Dividends is very high. Dividends rate is high in Japan other than other countries.
Yes, Japan is known for offering relatively high dividend yields compared to other countries. Many Japanese companies have a tradition of paying stable dividends, which can attract investors looking for income. It's interesting to think about why that is, perhaps due to the focus on long-term shareholder value or the lower levels of corporate investment compared to other countries. Are you interested in how this impacts stock prices or the overall economy?
That's why the Japanese company don't the Japanese company make don't make employees salary higher, and also R&D cost and
You're right. In Japan, many companies prioritize paying out dividends to shareholders over increasing employee salaries or investing heavily in research and development, R&D. This focus on dividends can sometimes limit funds for things like employee compensation or innovation. It's a balance that companies have to strike between rewarding investors and ensuring long-term growth through reinvestment in the business. Do you think this system benefits the companies in the long run, or do you feel it holds them back from being more competitive globally?
Most Japanese companies prioritize dividends, but they don't pay salary to their employee. 売上の向上に伴って、向上に伴って、従業員に給料を上げることはしないって英語でなんていうの
I see what you mean. Many Japanese companies focus more on dividends rather than increasing employee salaries, even when their revenues rise. This approach can create a gap between the company's financial performance and the rewards for employees, potentially leading to dissatisfaction or low employee morale. It can also hinder innovation if companies don't invest enough in R&D or their workforce. Do you think this trend could change in the future, or is it too deeply ingrained in the corporate culture?
Yeah, I think it should be change. It should change because in Japan the the sales price is not rise.
That's a great point. If the sales price isn't rising, then companies might be relying too much on dividends to please shareholders, which could hurt their long-term growth. Changing the approach to invest more in employees and R&D could help foster innovation and improve overall productivity, which would benefit both workers and the company in the long run. Do you think there's a shift happening in Japan's corporate culture, or do you feel the traditional mindset is still dominant?
Could you repeat again? なんか GPT-4 の方がなんかこれめっちゃ早口でちょっと聞き取れない。
なるほど。そう感じるんですね。それに比べて僕はもう少しゆっくりとしたペースで話しているかもしれません。もし何か言いたいことがあれば気軽に言ってくださいね。
Okay, thank you. Oh, by the way,
You're welcome. Let me know if you'd like to chat more about anything.
yeah. Do you have any question?
I'm always curious about what's on your mind. Since we were talking about corporate culture earlier, do you think the approach to employee compensation in Japan will eventually change? Or is there something else you're thinking about?
Yeah, they should be changed. They should change because 日本の物価が上がらないって英語でなんていうの
日本の物価が上がらないは英語で The cost of living in Japan isn't increasing. または Prices in Japan aren't rising になります。
The prices...
Would you like to explore why the cost of living in Japan hasn't been rising as much? Or is there something else related to this topic you're curious about?
Yeah, that's the point. The invention rate is the cause.
That's an interesting connection. If companies are prioritizing high dividend rates over reinvesting in their business or raising wages, it could limit economic growth, which in turn could prevent prices from rising as much. When businesses focus on rewarding shareholders instead of boosting wages or investing in innovation, it might slow down consumer spending and reduce economic activity overall. Do you think this pattern could eventually lead to economic stagnation, or do you see a way forward?
I cannot get the question. Could you repeat again?
Sure. I was asking if you think the current pattern of prioritizing dividends over things like higher wages or innovation could eventually lead to economic stagnation in Japan, or do you see any way that this could change in a positive direction?
日本語で質問してみて。
もちろんです。現在、日本の企業が配当を優先し、賃金やイノベーションへの投資を控えていることが、最終的に経済の停滞につながる可能性があると思いますか？それとも、この状況が変わるポジティブな方向があると思いますか？
Yeah, I think the determination rate should be lower, and Japanese companies should invest employees' salary and R&D.
That makes a lot of sense. If dividend rates were lowered, companies could redirect those funds into employee salaries and R&D, which would help improve both employee satisfaction and long-term innovation. Investing in people and innovation could also boost the company's competitiveness globally. Do you think the Japanese corporate culture would be open to such a shift, or is it too deeply embedded in tradition?
また聞いてなかった。ごめん。やばい、ぼーっとしてる。
大丈夫ですよ。気にしないでください。もし何か別のことを聞きたいことがあれば、遠慮なく言ってくださいね。
Okay, so let's wrap it up and talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good. I'll be here whenever you're ready to chat again. Take care.